Welcome to Phantastic Feast. I'm your host, Thuy Phan. Today I'm going to show you how to make something that is so easy to make, you won't believe how easy it is. And it's something that you probably don't think you can make at home, but once you do, you'll never go back to store-bought. I guarantee you, you won't ever want to do it outside because it's so much better at home and so much fresher too. And what it is called is Nem Nuong, or in English, it's called Vietnamese barbecue pork meatballs. And what I love about it is so versatile. You can put it in sandwiches, you can put it with banh or the vermicelli rice noodles and make that a kind of a noodle dish, or you can even put it in rolls. So this one staple will be able to make several different incarnations of different dishes. So you could bring it out to barbecues, so many things you can do with it, and it's so easy. What I have here is 2 pounds of ground pork, and then what you need with this is also a 1/4 cup of fish sauce, and then you also need a 1/4 cup of sugar. And this right here is called Tusino curing powder, and this is what gives Nem Nuong, or the pork barbecue balls, its pink color. You need 3 tablespoons of that. You also need 1 tablespoon of roasted rice powder, also known as Banh. And then also I like to add a little bit of honey. This is about 2 teaspoons of honey, just to give it an extra oomph or flavor in there. And you also need about a tablespoon of garlic. So what we'll do first is we'll mince the garlic, and here I have some that's already done. What I want to do today is Banh, or the baguette with the Nem Nuong and eggs, because it's a really simple dish to make for lunch, and I always enjoy it a lot. So we'll show you how to make that, but there are many things you can do. Once you have the base for the Nem Nuong, you're good to go, and then you can use it whenever you need. So first I have about 4 cloves of garlic. I'm going to mince that. So here in California, we're really spoiled because we have a lot of Asian supermarkets, so it is very easy for us to have access to fresh pork and meats where the butcher will do all the work for you, and they'll mince it or they'll grind it for you. So you also want to have a lot of fat in this too. It's actually kind of the secret ingredient. The more fat you have in your meat, the more tender and juicy it'll be. So this is definitely not a diet kind of meal, but it is a really good meal. So every now and then you got to treat yourself. So now what I'll do is I'll start marinating the meat, and then we'll let that sit for about an hour at least, or 24 hours. The longer you let it marinate, the more time it has to get all that flavor together and really cure the meat, so then you get that wonderful flavor. Okay, so now what we'll do is add some garlic, about a tablespoon. A little more is okay too. And then we're going to add the sugar. The Tusino curing powder. Next is the roasted rice powder. Then we'll add our fish sauce. And our honey. I like to use marinating gloves when I do this, but you can also use your hands. And you just get in there, and you want to make sure you mix it up really well. Just keep mixing until you have it all well incorporated. We're almost there. So you want to give it at least an hour to marinate, but if you have longer, 24 hours is better. And after that, it'll be ready to go. So I just kind of like to make sure it's nice and even. And then I'll cover this in saran wrap, put it in the fridge, and then when it's ready, we'll start rolling it up, and then we can start baking it and then getting our sandwich together. So I've already made another portion of the Nem Nuong, and it's had 24 hours to marinate, so it's ready to go. And as you can tell, it has a nice pink color to it, but when you cook it up, it'll turn an even brighter pink color. So it's going to be that color that is iconic and reminiscent of what you know of as Nem Nuong. And as you can tell, all those white bits are fat, and that's what you really want in your Nem Nuong, because it's going to make it so juicy and so tender. So in this dish, the more fat, the better. And actually, if you go to the butcher and you ask them to add some fat to it when they grind it, some people will actually do it for you, so you can have a really, really fatty and juicy cut of meat. I have here a baking sheet, and I put foil on it. And I have here some cooking oil, and what you want to do is put it on your hand so it doesn't stick. And you could do these in meatballs, or you could do them in long strips, depending on what you're going to make. If you're going to do sandwiches, long strips are okay because the sandwiches are long, so you can put it in that way. We'll do a mixture of both so you can see. And then all you do is grab some, and then you're gonna do meatballs. You can put these on skewers if you want. We have a meatball. Do a bunch of these. And I like to do meatballs when I'm making Nem Nuong. Everybody can have about 5 or 6 and then it's easy. See, this way you have oil, it doesn't stick to your hands, the meat. So, and this is something that you could do with your kids. This is definitely something that they can definitely put their hands in and get their hands dirty, but they can definitely help you shape the meatballs, and then it can become an interactive kind of activity making together. So now we have the Nem Nuong in the oven, and it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. So in the meantime, we're gonna get everything ready for this epic sandwich that we're gonna make. What we have is right here, we have some cilantro, and typically in banh mi, you also have some pickled carrots and daikon. I don't add it to mine, but that is the normal, more traditional style. So you can add that if you want. I also have some cucumbers that we'll cut up, and then I have chilies. I like to eat this with chili and maggi or also soy sauce. So it's a very simple sandwich because there's so much flavoring in the Nem Nuong and also in the fried egg. And right here I have some fresh French baguettes. And in California, we're so spoiled. There's so many bakeries out here that make a really nice French baguette. So this is going to be the base for our sandwich, and it's going to be really good. So we'll take some cucumbers and just slice them lengthwise. And then you just make these lengthwise cuts. Cucumbers are such a refreshing part of the sandwich, and it gives it a nice little crunch. So now we have our cilantro here. It's already washed, and then we have our cucumbers, or Persian cucumbers, and we have our chilies. And I like to use a scissor for this because it's just a little bit easier, and you just want to make thin little cuts. Of course, this is only if you like spice. I do, so I add this a lot. But you could just do a simple soy sauce and that'd be fine too. But for me, whenever I see anything with these chilies in it, it just makes my mouth water. And I know it's gonna be good no matter what. So now we're ready. We have our chilies and our maggi or soy sauce. We have our cilantro and we have our cucumbers cut. So what we'll do now is we'll fry our eggs, and then we'll check on our Nem Nuong, and if it's ready soon, we can put it all together. So let's go over to our stove. So we just took our Nem Nuong out of the oven, and it looks so good and it smells so good. So what I'll do now is I'll slice it up, and then we'll start building our sandwich. We have our nice toasty baguette. What we want to do is just slice it. So crusty. So light and crispy, I can't wait. I'm a sucker for bread. Okay, so now what we'll start doing is layering all our goodies, and I will cut some of the Nem Nuong in half. And these we can just slice in half. Yum. That looks so good. It's got a nice little sticky caramel glaze to it. It smells so good. The great thing about making this at home is you can stuff your sandwich as full as you want, put as much nem as you want, and no one would say anything about it. Okay, so now let me just taste it before. Okay. That's so good on its own. It's sweet, it's salty, it has a nice springy texture, it's perfect. It's so much more flavorful than the ones that you find in the store, I promise. So now it's yum. We could just eat that plain, but what we do now is stuff the sandwich with all of our goodies. So I'll add some nem. And there's no rhyme or reason on how you do this, just as long as you get all this good stuff in there. there. Okay, now our sandwiches are all done. They look so good. I had a piece of the nem and it's so delicious, so I can't wait to taste it with the runny egg, the crunchy bread, and all the goodness. So let's take a bite. Make sure it's a good one. There's no way to be nice and neat about this. Oh, it's so good. Oh, thank you. It's so yummy because when you make it at home, you add the extra garlic, the extra pepper, and it becomes a really nicely nuanced sandwich. It's so fresh and clean. That nem is so good.